Welcome to the Unitarian Society of New Haven. My name is Gwen Hughes Severance, and I will be your worship associate this morning. Welcome to you who are here in person in our sanctuary, and welcome to you who have joined us remotely by Zoom or YouTube. In your pews, the yellow and white bookmarks in your hymnals are part of today's service. Please don't move them, and we'll use them later. We are entering a sacred time. We make this time and this place sacred by our presence and intention. Please take a moment to turn off or silence your phones, get comfortable, and breathe. For many faiths of the world, this is a season of celebrations. Ramadan, Passover, Easter, Vaisakhi, the Buddha's birthday. We invite you to bring here all that you are, your beliefs, traditions, identities, and the wisdom of your years to this congregation. You are welcome here. In our presence, may you always seek your truth, speak your truth in love, and live your truth through service. And through all your days and nights in our presence, may you experience love. And now will John and Edie come up to light our chalice. Let us remember that Passover and Easter hold the enduring message for Unitarian Universalists gathered in observance here today. Never forget the past. Never forget those who have strived, suffered, and even died for the liberty of mind, body, and soul. Never forget the divine spark that is in each of us. May that spark represented today in this chalice flame guide us towards lives of justice and healing peace. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Jesse Greist. I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Education. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I want to make sure that everybody feels welcome and comforted and comfortable here. Any young people who are here, there is a nice place to stretch your legs and there's some foam blocks to play with. There's also a table in the back with some coloring pages, which you can feel free to use throughout the service this morning. And I really wanted to go back this morning to something that we were doing for a while in the fall, which was to share our congregation's covenant. I figure Easter is a really good day for us to talk a little bit again about covenant. So covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists and our religious forebears gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we fall short of our aspirations. So, if you will, in your order of service, there are some words. Please join me in saying those words. We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. And we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, and to seek humor and joy. And now, my friends, you will notice that in the teal hymnal there is a yellow bookmark that is marking hymn number 1012. When I am frightened, would you please rise in body or spirit and sing this hymn with us together? Please be seated. Friends, today, among many other things, today is Easter Sunday, a day when Christians around the world are celebrating the story of how Jesus Christ defied humanity's understanding of death, rising to a realm beyond our understanding, but also a realm full of beautiful, hopeful promises. It is a story that has inspired deep faith and belief in millions of people over thousands of years. For me personally, I believe it would be a mistake for those of us who question or doubt the story of Jesus as told in the Christian scriptures to discount the whole story because of these questions or doubts. While as a Unitarian Universalist, I have profoundly mixed feelings about the end of that story, I find myself equally and profoundly moved by what comes just before the end. The final days of a teacher, an activist, a compassionate leader, a person who, like you and me, was gifted by birth with inherent worth and dignity. There just might be something profound in examining how those last few days were lived. In the gospel, according to Matthew, Jesus knew he was in trouble. He was sought by the authorities for crimes. Yet his crimes were not the kind of crimes you might expect to see on TV shows like Cops or perhaps Jerusalem's Most Wanted. Jesus' crimes included, among other things, the crime of healing people, the crime of feeding people. What? Seriously, right? The crime of speaking his beliefs, even when his beliefs were looked down upon by the dominant culture of the day. Interestingly, he also was suspect in the eyes of authority because of his incessant activism. His work to end poverty and increase taxes on the rich made him both widely popular and also a target for those who would most likely have to pay if his radical ideas gained wide acceptance. It is important to note that in his last few days, Jesus honored many of the existing traditions of the times, such as hosting a Passover Seder. And when he did this, the authorities chose to pass over the opportunity to arrest him. It would have been bad optics that day. But in the end, he was arrested the day after the Seder. Now, Jesus had the kind of trial that modern YouTube channel Audit the Audit, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that one, that Audit the Audit would likely deem a sham trial. And he became the victim of capital punishment. There were false witnesses who, according to veteran court reporter Matthew, in verse 60 of chapter 26 of his gospel, told the court that Jesus had claimed to be able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. At the time those accusations were levied against him, Jesus invoked his right to remain silent. But he never, ever admitted guilt, since the crimes he was accused of committing were not really crimes in his view. Now, the reason I'm focusing on this part of the story is that what Jesus went through, living out heartfelt beliefs, not yielding, even when the world seems to turn against you, speaking truth to power, questioning the validity of human laws, and above all, loving fiercely, even when it risks life and limb. This is a story that has repeated and repeated far too many times throughout human history. You yourselves might know somebody or know of someone who has gone through something similar to what Jesus went through. Today, we gather not only in celebration of Jesus' life, but in celebration of the lives and as an affirmation of all of these blessed memories of justice seekers and healers who were taken from us far too soon. Today, we gather for Catholic Archbishop Oscar Arnulfo Romero, who was so inspired by Jesus' story, he led a movement against military power structures in El Salvador in the 1970s. He deeply disagreed with the way that 2% of the country's population owned almost 60% of the land in the country. He deeply disagreed with the way that Christian leaders were treating Christian civilians. And it was those same leaders who ordered Romero's killing in 1980. So we gather today for him as well. We gather also for Margaret Jones, who, like Jesus, was a healer, whose use of herbs and remedies became known all across eastern Massachusetts in the 1640s. There were even those who said she was so good at curing physical pain, her work was nothing short of miraculous. But perhaps she was too good at what she did. Just like Jesus, she was falsely accused by those in power. In Margaret's case, she was accused of witchcraft. At her trial, she was abandoned by those that she had healed, and others provided false statements against her. And she suffered a similar cruel end to Jesus in the year 1648. Now, these stories, the stories like Jesus, like Archbishop Romero, like Margaret Jones are, I am troubled to say, a mere drop in the bucket of such stories that the world has seen. So, let us take a little bit of time here together to bear deeper witness. You will find in the gray hymnals in front of you or around you some strips of paper, and they're marking hymn number 344, which we're going to get to in a few minutes. These double-sided papers hold a summary of some of these other stories of healers, of justice seekers that should never be allowed to fade. Let us take some time now here in this space to read them aloud to each other. You may read to someone sitting next to you or near you, or you may choose to read them quietly to yourself. It's your choice. But we do this so that their memory may be lifted up and honored on this day. Please take a few minutes to read to each other now. And perhaps you can finish up the last of the stories that you're reading, and we'll gather our attention back. You are most welcome to keep these papers, take ones from another hymnal. I gathered 8 of them to share today, spread out through the congregation. But again, there are so many more. So friends, we gathered here this morning to hear and share these stories, to bear true witness, to collectively say no more. Can you say that with me? No more. No more injustice. No more false witness. No more death. No more death for our wrongdoings. May it be so.
We take time in our service each week to name the concerns of our community. Barbara Dobray and Bjorn Lindstrom expressed joy and sorrow that they are off to Sweden for 6 months. They said they will miss us all. And I'd like to share a joy that the positivity rate for the virus in Connecticut is below 4%. And when you think where we were a year ago or 2 years ago, I just wanted to hold that up and say thank you for your cooperation in the last 3 years of doing what we need to do. For all the joys and sorrows, both large and small, spoken and unspoken, we bear witness. May we be open to this moment just as it is. May our hearts be at ease with the conditions of our lives, and may we be open to the flow of joys and sorrows with understanding and equanimity.
And so we enter a time of meditation. At the end of our services at USNH, we talk about never letting the light of truth go out. We mention the enduring warmth of community and the inextinguishable fire of commitment. So as we enter into a quiet, meditative space, I invite you to hold the flame of our chalice in your view. In a few minutes, that flame will be extinguished, but we will keep it lit in our hearts. You may close your eyes as you wish at this time and envision, keep an image of that candle flame, even when it cannot be seen. Let it warm you inside. Let the light of truth illuminate your inner view. What you hold true in this light is a truth that no one can take from you. May your truth shine within you, and may it be fire. Now, let the light of community come into focus in your mind's eye. Whatever community brings to you today, perhaps an image of a conversation with a dear friend, perhaps that's community. Perhaps singing a song with others is community. A smile that you share, a connection you open yourself to. Perhaps a snack that you'll share, an Easter egg hunt you'll go on, a letter you'll write, a hug you'll give or receive. Whatever it is, may the warmth of community hold you, and the fire of commitment that sparks within you. This fire may grow as you find a new passion, reignite an old one. It just might hurt a bit because others hurt or suffer in the world around you, but you can turn that hurt into help as you tend the fire, careful to keep it alive, but likewise careful not to let it burn out of control. And now, return your attention to the chalice flame, which remains with us in this space for now. Let us keep silence for a minute, as the flame keeps us for as long as we let it.
As part of our time together each Sunday, we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by asking for your offering for the ministries of this congregation. You can go to our website, usnh.org, and donate online, or scan the QR code printed in today's order of service. Or you can mail your donation to our address, 700 Hartford Turnpike in Hamden, Connecticut, 06517. Or if you are here in person, you can place a donation in the offering plates held by the ushers in the back of the sanctuary at the end of the service. Thank you.
So in this part of the story, as you are moved, I invite you to say back to this chancel, to me, The word rise. Can you try that with me once all together? Rise. Rise. There you go. Let us praise the gardeners among us. Rise. The tireless caretakers of tomorrow who plant seeds, water them, care for them, weed around them, feed them with sun and air. And when the harvest comes, they share and feed the world. Let us praise the gardeners. Rise. Let us honor the healers among us, the gentle, compassionate caretakers of bodies and minds, who research cures, who encourage us to growth, who nourish our choices and our options. Rise. For when we are unwell, we turn to them and they heal us. Let us honor the healers. Let us thank the educators among us, the flexible, indefatigable caretakers of tomorrow, who plant ideas, who nurture individuality, who welcome questions like the spring rain, who endure the growing threat of ignorance. Rise, educators. When we hunger for knowledge, they do not feed us, but rather teach us to feed ourselves. Let us thank the educators. Let us be the justice seekers among us. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Let us be the justice seekers among us. The aware, vigilant seekers of equity who struggle today so that struggles are eased tomorrow. Every action, no matter how small, when taken in pursuit of justice, is an action that grows love, grows peace, and builds community. Let us be the justice seekers. Rise, 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 choir. Alleluia. So one of the things that I've often noticed is that when we choose the hymns that we're going to sing together each week, I'm not sure how often we really take a moment to pause and read the words of these hymns. So our reading this morning is actually the lyrics to our closing hymn for today. So feel free to read along with me. It's the hymn that was marked by those white papers in your hymnals, number 344. And I'd like to read the lyrics and then we'll sing this hymn together. It's "A Promise Through the Ages Rings." And it really spoke to me this week when thinking about the meaning of Easter for Unitarian Universalists. Probably also the meaning of Passover as well. A promise through the ages rings that always, always something sings. Not just in May, in finch-filled bower, but in December's coldest hour. A note of hope sustains us all. A life is made of many things, bright stars, bleak years, and broken rings. Can it be true that through all things there always, always something sings? The universal song of life. Entombed within our deep despair, our pain seems more than we can bear, but days shall pass, and nature knows that deep beneath the winter's snow, a rose lies curled and hums its song, even in those winters where there isn't much snow. For something always, always sings. This is the message Easter brings. From deep despair and perished things, a green shoot always, always springs. And something always, always sings. So speaking of which, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and sing hymn number 344, "A Promise Through the Ages Rings." So please join me in the words we use to extinguish the chalice, which you'll find in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. Together let us say, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now, friends, we end this service early today so that all of you may join us outside. We're going to open these two doors down here, and we're going to enjoy the gorgeous, still chilly but sunny weather. And we are going to have a whole congregation Easter egg hunt. It is on, so that means everybody. And it's going to be on the front lawn of USNH. So the boundaries and the rules are this. I have hidden eggs together with Bill Braun and Cedro, and we have hidden them in a place where if you are on grass in this part of the building over here, then you can reach them. You don't need to go off into the woods. You don't need to go off into, climbing any equipment or things like that. And it's only just on the grass on the front lawn. Also, when you see the USNH sign down by Hartford Turnpike, that's the boundary. Don't go closer to Hartford Turnpike than that. Okay? So, doing the math here, we have about 280 eggs out there. So I'm going to say that for the kids especially, once you get to about 5 or 6 eggs, I invite you to look around and make sure that other people have found at least one. And just let's make sure that everybody at least gets 1 egg, and then after about the first 5 or 10 minutes of this, then you can go, the children can look for all the rest of them. I have 1 extra basket here. Some of you brought your own baskets. If you need something, let me know and I can go and get you something else to hold your eggs. But I'm going to end our service and open the doors with these words. The Apostle John ends his gospel with the words, "But there are also many things which Jesus did. If every one of them were to be written, I suppose that the world itself could not contain all of those books." My friends, may the everyday deeds of good, the deeds of justice, the deeds of peace that we live out here on earth fill the pages of our lives' story. And may our storied lives fill the world with love. Now let's head outside. Oh, and coffee's getting served outside too, by the way. Let's head outside for the egg hunt and coffee and refreshments. Happy Easter.